This is The Real Spiel. How are you, everybody? I'm coming to you today with your Friday Bible study and breakdown of what's happening in Israel. Is the God of Israel the God of the Israeli? That's what I'm talking about. Is the God of Israel the same God of the Israeli? I'm going to hit you with a scripture from Genesis chapter 34. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. But I'm going to hit you from verse 25, and I'll give you an analysis, and I'll break it down. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that the two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, her brothers, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. They slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. And the sons of Jacob came upon the slain, and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep, their oxen, their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives took they captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me, and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And verse 31 in the last, and they said, should he deal with our sister as a harlot? Woo-wee! Here we go, baby. Here we go. That story is a powerful historical account of the patriarch Jacob, aka Israel, in respect to what took place when that man came into a particular countryside. Let me give you a background and a backdrop of the story. Jacob, whose name is Israel, recently changed. He comes into a place that he's looking to settle, the land of the Canaanites. When he comes into this location, his daughter goes hanging out with the local individuals of the land. She's hanging out, she's chilling. Now some people see her, some men see her, a brother by the name of Shechem. And he says, boy, this girl look good. And he takes her. He abducts her. He literally abducts her. Keeps her in his home. Has his way with her, sexually and otherwise. Likes her so much, he says, you know what? I think I want to marry this one. Go and talk to her family and see if they will allow her to stay with me and don't cause no trouble. I don't want no trouble. Let her marry me. You know, I want her to be able to see her people, but she's not leaving. And so Hamor, his father, goes and approaches the Jacob and his sons and tries to have a conversation about keeping the young girl that his son has abducted. And Jacob doesn't really do anything about it. But the brothers, using their heads, say, listen, you know what? Under one condition, we're going to let you actually marry our sister. We're going to be cool with you guys. You guys will become like brethren to us. Everything's going to be hunky-dory. The only thing is, every one of your men, you got to be circumcised like us. If you're not circumcised with us, can't do it. All of your men, everybody. Now, I know you just came from my sister, but every man in your little village, in your little town, all of you guys got to be circumcised. Now, these boys knew something about circumcision. They knew that circumcision thing, you know, once you cut your Johnson, give it a couple of days. Day 1, you're okay. Day 2, but day 3, whew, you can't do much. And so these boys went back there and started talking to their countrymen and said, hey man, listen, these guys, they got wealth, they got cattle, they got sheep. All they're saying is that, listen, we'll mingle with you guys, but we got to be circumcised. Listen, let's just do this because we're going to take all their stuff anyway. You hear that? This is what Hamor and Shechem said. Let's just do what they say. Let's just do this circumcision thing for their, but in the long run, all their stuff's going to become ours anyway. So they go and do it. They get themselves circumcised and come back and like, yeah, man, we've circumcised ourselves. We did just like you said. They said, that's amazing. Listen, yeah, in a few days, you know, we're going to firm up the ceremony. And they wait 3 days, wait for these guys, for everybody to be sore, incapable of defending themselves. And they run up in there. Levi, who becomes a descendant of the priestly tribe. They run up in there with his brother Simeon. His name means hearing. Levi actually means joined to God. And they run up in there and they kill all those guys. They kill every one of them. And they go and they get their sister out of Shechem's house. And they don't just stop. They kill them. They take their children hostage. They take their wives hostage. They took all their sheep. They took all their cattle. They looted the place. They spoiled everything around them. Let me tell you something. There wasn't a lot of mercy. There wasn't a lot of mercy in that scenario. Now, this is a controversial story because apparently Jacob, he doesn't like it. He's like, man, you guys caused real trouble for me, man. These people are going to be my enemies from now on because of what you guys did. I didn't want to cause no trouble. And they said, wait a minute. So you're going to just sit there and let our sister become a whore and do nothing? Uh-huh. And here we have it. Right there, what we have detected is the politics of Israel. Right there. Right there, we have it right there. We have one group that says, listen, we understand what was done. We understand that Hamas came in here and they took people hostage, and their intention is to take over the land. Their intention is to take over the land. There's another group that says, listen, hey, no. Israel has no business in that land. Remember my story now. Jacob comes to a land that's not his. He's trying to settle there. He's coming to a place doesn't belong to him. He's trying to settle there. It's not his land. Right. Are you with me? Okay. And then there's another group in Israel that says, hey, the Levi and the Simeon group, I don't care about nobody's children. I don't care about nobody's wife. I don't care about none of that. You came aggressively. You abducted our sister. You got her held hostage in your house. And you're coming to try to negotiate with us? There's no negotiation that can be done in good faith when you have hostages. There's no negotiation that can be done in good faith when you have my sister held hostage in your house. What you should have done is released her and say, come on, man, let's talk about this. But you got her locked up in your house and you're trying to negotiate. You're not coming in good faith, and I'd be a fool to be in good faith. And here we have our political dilemma that's going on right now. How on earth can you negotiate in good faith when you have hostages still, Israeli soldiers, women and men, potentially even children, still you have hostages? How can you really, how can anyone really negotiate that situation in good faith? Right? Also, how can, this is going to sound crazy coming out of my mouth, but how can you blame Hamas for fighting back from an intruder who has held their people in a state of occupation, or what some people have referred to as an open air prison? I think that term is an interesting term. I don't know how valid it is. I don't know how legitimate it is. It's something I've heard. I'm not saying I'm endorsing that term, but that's a term that's used, that's saying that it's an open air prison. And I heard one speaker say, if you have your foot on a man's neck long enough, on a dog's neck long enough, the dog will bite you. Right? And so they've justified Hamas. Please do not account these as to my sentiments. I'm relaying an argument on different platforms to you, and I'm trying to be fair. They've said, how can you hold somebody responsible when you have been killing their mothers and sisters and brothers for years? They've been showing up missing under the occupation of Israeli soldiers for years. How can you hold them responsible, culpable, when they are simply reacting to your everyday aggression? And ultimately, the philosophical question, the God of the Bible, the God of Israel, who we just read about, is he functioning in the same capacity under the, is the Israeli functioning under the same auspices of the same philosophy of the God of Israel? Is the God of the Israeli the same God of the God of Israel? And I use that one story to paint multiple pictures for us, so that it's not an easy yes or no. It's not an easy yes or no. Levi goes on to be the priests. If you look into the story, God never curses Levi or Simeon. In Genesis chapter 49, when Jacob is dying and he brings his children close to bless them, he doesn't say good things about those two. But God never holds them accountable to what they did, because it was from my perspective, from the perspective of a father who has daughters, Jacob looks like a coward who won't defend his own children. Jacob looks like a coward. Also, in Jacob's final farewell in Genesis 49, he doesn't bless Dinah. Imagine my only daughter, who was taken and raped to the point where her brothers had to assassinate an entire town to get you back. When I'm dying, I'm not going to remember you and say, my poor Dinah, who was afflicted. Bless her, and may the children of her womb. Nothing is said about that young girl who is taken hostage. He leaves her out of the will. So speaking of the Israel of Scripture, the man, his mindset for his own daughters, it's scary. Indeed. But let's get into the politics of this now. Let's get into the politics. I'm an educator. Within the school systems that I function with, the official rule of thumb is have no opinion. That's why I hate the West. You have opinions over how many genders there are. Apparently, according to some popular rag, there's over 100 genders now. There's male, there's female, and there's apparently 98 others somewhere. They can have an opinion for that. They can have an opinion for the right of a woman to kill an unborn child in her body. They can have an opinion for that. You have a right to speak up about that one. You can have an opinion of when a child decides to emancipate themselves from their fathers and their mothers. You have an opinion about that. But for some reason, our school boards do not wish to have an opinion over Palestinians killing Israelis or Israelis killing Palestinians. They don't want an opinion for that. They don't want a debate. They don't want a dialogue. The school I'm in, there's Palestinian kids and there's Jewish kids. Probably more Jewish kids than Palestinian kids. Nobody wants to have a conversation about it. Everybody's deathly afraid of that. They don't want to talk about that at all. And to me, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thing that we can't dive into the politics and especially the theology of the issue. Will you let me do it with you? I'm going to do it right now. Again, Miss Ann, I see you. Yvonne Gentles, the evangelist, I see you. Adi Al-Katani, the Spice Man, I don't see you, but I know you're coming. To all my friends, let me see here. Allegory made to obtain power. I'm not sure what you're saying, but it's because I'm driving, Mr. Marshall. I'm going to get to you, though. Let's play with this right now. Let's really dive into this situation and mess with it a little bit here. Turn down my heat because I'm about to get hot in here. I don't want no excessive hot other than my own. Listen to me. This world has always exchanged blood for land. Very, very, very powerful sentence. We have always been in an exchange with blood for land. From the time God called Abram, from the time God started to speak to Abram and told him, I'm going to show you a place. I'm going to give you a place to go. I'm going to show you a place. You don't leave your father's house. He put Abram in a conflict, saying, I'm going to put you in a conflict because I'm going to make you have to pay for land with blood. Very interesting. When you boil the Bible down to the very bare minimums, it is a constant exchange of blood and land. Constant exchange of blood and land, or if I can say it like this, blood and territory. Jesus dies so that we might have territory not of this world, but territory nonetheless. It's a constant exchange. And to me, that seems like a very bad deal. No one would sit around and say that your blood is worth any level of dirt. Yet, it seems like that is the constant crux of the problem going on in Scripture, where people are dying for the dirt under their feet. They are defending their land. Land is one of the most important things in the Bible. Land. And right now, there is a world war. I call it World War III. If you listen to me last couple of times, There's a world war taking place over a piece of land the size of the state of New Jersey. Thousands are killing, dying, children are being beheaded, massive murder going on. Murder on both sides going on for a piece of land the size of New Jersey. Why? Because somebody has determined that that is holy land. Somebody has decided, not just one somebody, at least three somebodies. The Jew, the Christian, and the Muslim has decided that that is holy land. And therefore, you are not entitled to it. Can I start with the Jewish conversation first? The state of Israel. There are so many people, and I'm going to talk back to you. I got one good contact in my eye. Good day, Byron. Here we got one. The land they stole. I'm gonna start with that thought, because the current pervasive opinion of the current day state of Israel. I had one brother who's telling me, "Don't talk to me about this David and Solomon thing. I'm talking about now, brother." I said, "Brother, listen. I'm gonna say the same to you. History does not start in 1948. It doesn't. But I would be ignorant and insincere to ignore your point. Was the land stolen? Some might be able to make that argument, right? If we avoid the scripture that a nation shall be built in one day, if we avoid the correlation between the 1948 creation of the state of Israel and the Bible, if we and lose the nostalgia about that, and say no, these people just needed to give a bunch of Europeans a place to live, and decided to give them somebody else's home, reinforced it with the might of NATO, dispossessed the people of the land, allowing these individuals to use technology and other things to create a nation state, and push people who were actually indigenous to that home out. They stole the land. Now this is the A, B's, and C's of it. The Israeli will step in there and say, "Wait a minute, no. We couldn't steal what was always ours. God promised this land to Abram. He became Abraham. God promised this land to Jacob. God gave this land to David and his son Solomon, and says, of your kingdom there shall be no end. God prophesied this land to us. The Roman took it away from us. The Babylonian took it away from us. The Persian took it away from us. The Greek took it away from us. The Ottoman took it away from us. But now, God has restored the land that has been our fathers forever. Now, the black Jew steps in and says, hey, I like the story, but the story's not about you. You're right, but that story's not talking about you, sir. You're a European that has adopted a religion that does not identify with your true DNA. That story's about me. And you're right, but that land is mine. And if I had control of it, I wouldn't be causing the fights and the ruckus that you guys are causing right now. In fact, they wouldn't even be killing us because we'd be living in harmony. We would have found a way. The Muslim says, Bandat, we took that thing long time. We dispossessed you people long time. And truly, that's our land, not yours. All right? That's our homeland. That's our holy land. That's our Mecca. That is the place that we call our own. You guys don't really have any business being there. The Christian jumps in that story and says, hey, our Savior was from that land. And as a Christian, I see that land as being holy. And therefore, I see it being very, very important to my Christian identity. So you Muslims, you absolutely can't have it. And you Jews will tolerate you. But don't take too much action like it's yours. Don't try that. It goes further, it goes into the black and the white. The black man tries to come back to his homeland. The Ashkenazi European white man says, this is not your homeland. In fact, if you want it to be, you've got to convert to what we are. The black man says, convert to what? How could I convert to being me? Says, well, we control the passports. We control all that. You got to. We run it. It's ours. It was given to us. And there you have it. You have this big confusion going on over a place that is the size of the state of New Jersey. And the greater confusion is, what side is God on? Oh my goodness. What side is God on? That's the place that you really want to have the conversation about. What is God saying about that piece of land? I ain't even gonna mess with that in this particular broadcast. I'm gonna go further. What is the geopolitical status of that place? This is a bigger conversation. The geopolitical status of that place is that Russia identifies that America has a strategic advantage having that many nukes, having that level of military in the Middle East. America has a home base called the State of Israel in the Middle East. That is their right-hand man. They've got the best so-called, I don't know, since October 7th, we gotta check the Mossad, because boy, those guys have more blind spots than a one-eyed boxer. But the Mossad are supposed to be the best intelligence people in the world, and they got their eye on everything out there. And now Russia says, hey, Iran, let's help you guys get an enriched uranium. If anybody who doesn't think that Iran isn't nuclear right now is a damn fool. Okay? Anybody who doesn't know that Iran is fully nuclear capable right now is an idiot. You're a dummy. Iran had nuclear 83% enriched uranium. It was at 83%. They were a year away in 2017, 2018 in the Obama administration. Those guys got the whole kit and caboodle. Iran has been laughing at every sanction, every sanction put on them. Let me explain something about sanctions real fast for those who understand. What happens when America wants countries to do what they say? Instead of sending in an army, they put sanctions on them, right? Now you might think, oh yeah, I know what sanctions are. Sanctions is when they tighten up the economy, making sure that, goods and services and things like that can't get there, and puts the people in a position of poverty. It doesn't affect government, number one. Let you understand that. Sanctions don't affect the capacity of that government to do anything, because there's some smart guys out there in Iran creating nuclear weapons and all kind of weapons, and the government's going to find a way to feed them and make their life comfortable, period, right? But let me tell you what sanctions do. Sanctions, when you make the entire country poor, it's very easy to step in and pay a bunch of guerrillas, a bunch of rebels, a bunch of upstarts to overthrow the government, because everybody's broke, and overthrowing the government becomes something that people want because everybody's broke. So that's what America does. They put sanctions in, they make your economy, they make the people not really like the leadership, and then they step in there and they start supporting various groups to make sure that individuals who are on their side now have the guns, the weapons, the means, the wealth, and everything to fight back, right? But sanctions on Iran did not stop their nuclear program one bit. Iran is fully nuclear. Fully nuclear. And Russia is their best bosom friend. Best friend. I don't know. Putin's not stupid. Putin's not a fool. Because the difference, I said this before in other videos. Go check some of the other videos out, because I don't like to repeat myself. But like I said, the difference is the white man in America feels he is the same white man in Israel. And there's as many there's as many Jews who are American citizens as Israeli citizens. So that's a big difference from a Russian and an Iranian. Those two individuals are working together, but they're not really kinfolk. So Putin's not a dummy. But he knows his best chance to have a legitimate stronghold in the Middle East is Iran. But the problem is the Iranian political system, you can't control that. You don't know what that's going to do. You know, so Putin's got to be friends as well as look at them, keep his eye on them, because them guys, them brothers can do what the heck they want to do. They're smart, they got money, they're backed by big people, Saudi Arabia, and they're very, very good at fighting you and saying it's not us. Hezbollah is a full army, baby. It's Iran's army, but it's not. Hamas, it's not Iran's army, it's Palestine's army. But Iran is very, very, very much in the mix. In fact, you might even say, we don't know if it was Iran that attacked in October 17th, and not even Hamas. You don't know. We don't know. You don't really know. Some people think it's the truth, that was really Iran that did that, under the auspices of Hamas. So the geopolitical aspect of that is major, 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 major. It's big. So there's a God part, there's a humanitarian part, and there's the geopolitical part. These things are major. They're major. But of course, what is over and outstretching is the God part. Is how is God facilitating and fulfilling eschatological prophecy, last day prophecy? How is he doing that in the Middle East? What is taking place that allows us to see that is what is happening at this moment, right? And I gave you the end of that. Again, go back and check the videotape. I gave you the end of that, right? I told you what was happening there. Revelation 7, go look at that. That's what's happening there. That there's coming up time where God is calling back his originals. The originals are coming to the forefront. I don't know how that's going to take place, but that's got to happen. And in the meantime, I've been asked to not say too much about our good friend Benny. I ain't going to say too much about him. I'll leave it at that. But we see what's going on. I said it initially. I think I was one of the first to say it. This whole thing is about America, Israel, and Iran. Iran is fully nuclear. Netanyahu has an issue with Iran, which he should, because Iran has said that they're going to wipe Israel off the map. And I believe Netanyahu has the same sentiments towards them now. He's practicing with Hamas. That's practice. But he's coming to knock on the door of the Babylonian just now. The God of Israel and the God of the Israeli. Let's talk about the Israeli religious scenario. To be a Zionist doesn't mean that you have to even believe in God. To be a Zionist doesn't mean that you even have to believe in the God of the Bible, of the Tanakh. A Zionist, first and foremost, believes in the capacity of his people to survive and to thrive. It's a Zionist. He's not God first, he's me first. Or, at the very best, us first. Zionism, I don't have much use for it. And some people like to determine that to be anti-Semitism. Nah, it's not anti-Semitism. It's not anti-Semitism when I say that the concept of Zionism is to keep control, is to keep power, is to a xenophobic hegemonic oppression on things that so that you can control the world. Zionism is the real world order, is the real new world order. That's what Zionism is. And when you start talking about Zionism, people come for you very fast, boy. Two things people will come for you fast for. Talk about Beyonce or talk about Zionism. They'll come for you very, very quickly, because Zionism means different things to different people, right? To me, what Zionism is an evil force for world control. That's what Zionism is for me. Zionism isn't the preservation of the Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jew. That's not what Zionism is for me. Everybody has the right to preserve themselves. Everybody has the right to be safe. Everybody has the right to have the shelter of a nation and to make sure that they cannot be hunted down or illegally or unlawfully or immorally persecuted. Everybody has the right to that, except for the black man, of course, right? We don't have the right to that because we don't have that. But just because I don't have it doesn't mean that you don't have the right to it, because I have the right to it. I just don't have it, right? I sit in colonizers' countries begging for their dirty little passport so I can call myself Canadian, or I can call myself American, or I can call myself French. But the black man doesn't have a homeland that he can identify with, right? God bless Ghana and Nigeria and some of those countries that have said, come home, repatriate themselves, right? But as you're saying that, and of course, I'm a Caribbean. I'm a Trinidadian to the bone, right? To the bone. I'm a Trinidadian to the bone. But again, Trinidad doesn't have an Iron Dome over Trinidad. Nigeria don't have an Iron Dome. Ghana don't have an Iron Dome, nor a nuclear weapon, nor a sophisticated military, because Africa and Africans and African diaspora have never been given the right to defend themselves. You can exist, but you better not defend yourself. You can exist. We'll let you exist. But Israel, the Zionist, doesn't want to just exist. He wants to exist with the capacity to stop you from existing if you dare. Try him. Don't try me. I'll stop you. Listen. You see a nice Jewish kid walk down the street. I coach nice Jewish boys. I have nice Jewish kids on my team. I love my guys, right? I have Jewish friends. I have a Jewish teacher who teaches in the class I'm with. No issues with those people whatsoever. They love me, I love them. I don't see Zionism when I look at them. I see people when I look at them. But when I think of Zionism, I think of somebody sitting back there in a lab saying, hey, we gotta make sure that we have the doomsday button in our control. We gotta make sure that we have as many bombs, as many weapons, because there's gonna come a day where they're gonna come for us again. But the next time they come for us, there's no Auschwitz happening. They're gonna find that we're not these nice little Jewish boys and Jewish girls sitting around to put a yellow necklace on our neck. No. They're gonna find out that the lamb has teeth like a dragon and claws. And Zionism is making sure that the Jewish liberty to defend themselves is not just defensive. It's not just the IDF. It's not just the Israel Defense Force. It's the IOF. It's the Israeli Offensive Force too. They are making sure, and this is what you're seeing. You think you're seeing IDF? You're not seeing IDF with our good friend Benny, who I'm not supposed to be talking about. And Benny has got IOF happening, the Israeli Offensive Force, and he's coming for people who are coming for him. And hey, I'm a bully. I understand that. You come for me, I'm coming for you. Yeah, no. You try to break a fingernail, I'm trying to break an arm. Like, I understand. I get it. I understand. I understand the premise of it. I don't know if that would be fitting of a world leader with nuclear power to think like that. But seemingly, you have one. You have a guy with nuclear weapons and an attitude to do a lot of harm to a lot of people. Can't potentially defend themselves, but I can't talk about that. Listen, these things are not easy topics to wrestle with. And inside of Israel, you have the Zionist, who is ultra religious and orthodox, lenient orthodox, agnostic, not religious at all. So you don't have a simple, this is not simply just a religious war. Even if you take Israel as Israel by itself, it's not just Israelis who say they have a religious right to the land. You know, you have people who legitimately are saying, no, this is where we live and we're going to defend it. You have some people say this is our land and we're supposed to have it and these people are not supposed to be on it, and this is God saying eradicate them like we should have done from the beginning. You have a lot in there. You have a country that was trying to become a very religious, political religious country before this started. That they were up in arms saying we don't want a religious dictatorship here. There's a lot going on in this conversation. And let me check in with the people that I'm listening and see what they got to say. Machiavellism is Zionism. I like that topic. Yeah, that's a big topic. You got to break that down though, because Machiavellism is a lot of things. So you got to break that down, right? There's a lot of aspects of Machiavellism. You get chauvinism from Machiavelli, and chauvinism is not bad all the time. Chauvinism could be simply table manners, opening a door for a woman, you know, laying down your coat on a puddle. That's Machiavellian too. That's part of the Machiavellianism concepts too, but there's more into it, as you may or may not know. I pray that peace be with the people of the Congo. That's a bit, you know what? I don't know why I'm not talking about that, because you're right. Thanks, I'm learning. Be safe. Somebody deleted their message. Why do they ask black people what side they on? I agree. The like-minded leaders should trade with each other when sanctions are in place. That's what they do. They wicked all over. Yeah. So I definitely have to do a whole video on Congo. I'm not even going to disrespect the concept of the true genocide that's taking place right now. The true genocide is taking place in Congo right now. I'm not going to disrespect it by just having a little snippet here. I'm keeping this one on topic, and I'll have a whole video on Congo. But this is an issue that it's really encroaching on more and more and more. I just want to make sure all my topics that I had in my head I'm busting out. I brought out the Iranian-Russian connection. I want to finish with this. The United States of America. Oh my gosh. You know what the worst thing is about this? I had some people in my life. When I had a major decision to make, I always wanted to ask them. And I asked them for this specific reason, because if they agree with me, I know I'm probably making the wrong decision. That if what? I wanted to do that and you think I should do it? Ugh, that's bad, because I don't like your decision making. Your decision making is bad. And if you like it, it can't be good. America's like that for me. When I see the US is on the side of anyone, I always think to myself, that can't be good. I know, right? Because somewhere in the world, somewhere along the lines of life, we have painted the United States of America as a good political regime, when they are absolutely not. They are the complete opposite of good. Let me explain in this particular context of why. With Iran, America overthrew the government of Iran. Did you know that? They overthrew Iran because they wanted Iranian gold. Okay? The brother who was running Iran at the time was not going to let America walk in there, and they nationalized Iran nationalized their Did I see gold? I meant oil. I apologize. Oil, 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 oil. They nationalized their oil. America wanted Iranian oil. And they allowed that guy to get overthrown. They helped undermine the government of Iran. All right? They did the same thing with Saddam Hussein too. That guy's a puppet. They undermined that guy. They put the Shah of Iran in place. The Shah, we love the Shah in America, boy. In the West, oh, the Shah of Iran, a nice guy. Such a nice guy. That guy was working for the U.S. He might as well have been collecting a check straight from the White House. He was put in place to overthrow the government and to make sure America owned oil in Iran. Their national oil, America owned that too. Some of it. Then, this is the part I don't know. I do suspect, but I don't know. I think this is where Russia comes in the Cold War and says, yeah, you guys put in the Shah, don't worry. Ayatollah, here you go, baby. We'll get you all the weapons, all the money you need, overthrow this guy. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but it makes a lot of sense. Because if America is undergirding the Shah of Iran, how in the heck does a new group get enough gumption, get enough power, get enough wealth and anything else to rise up to overthrow that guy? But they did. And that guy brought in the Ayatollah Khomeini. He brought in religious reform like you wouldn't believe, boy, and made all these pretty Iranian girls go straight back to wearing burqas. And how was that? But America, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. They cut the throats of government. They wheel and deal and connive and wind their way into a thing. So when I see now, America running, of course, to the defense of Israel. But if they stop there, I'd say, okay, well, I understand that. They're allies. What the heck is America doing in Syria right now? What is America doing in Syria right now? Why are American troops fighting in Syria? What does this have to do? Oh, this has nothing to do with it. This is a completely unrelated incident. What are you guys doing right now? And let me tell you what I think they're doing. America wants to wipe out Iran because Iran had a deal. And under the Shah is where a lot of all these enriched, their nuclear program, America poured a lot of money into that. A lot of money. Then they had to pull it, and try to control and stop and slow down. There's a nuclear reactor long time in Iran. Iran's had a nuclear reactor for years, for decades. For longer than most of y'all been alive, they've had nuclear power, but they didn't have enriched nuclear, enriched uranium to make a weapon. They didn't have that until now. And America is in a position now where nobody wants those guys to have the level of technology. Let me tell you something. Now, let me say this. I said this before. Don't get so caught up with nuclear power too, because that stuff's been around for a very long time. These little Iranian scientists that are doing university math in grade 5 and 6, them little smart guys out there are making much more deadlier stuff than you think. And Iran, similar to Hamas, and I don't know how they did it either, building underground cities and armaments. How do they know you have nuclear power? They check it out from the satellite. They check it out. They can detect whether or not you have enriched uranium. They can do it from the sky, apparently. But not if you're underground. Not if you're building stuff underground. And I'm telling you right now, that's how I'm telling you, Iran is fully nuclear, boy. And if Hamas, like I said, Hezbollah is a grown man. Hamas is a little boy. Hamas don't have money like Iran. They don't have it. And if Hamas built a 500-mile underground city with weapons. What do you think Iran has in there? Hey, underground in Iran? It's like, what's the place? Black Panther. he's the king of that place. When you watch the Black Panther movie, you're thinking it's just some little African village, and then whoosh, these people switch up, and this thing turns into some technological thing that you're like, oh my gosh, that's Iran, buddy. Don't play around with those guys. Iran's underground situation, you have no idea what you're looking at. You're thinking you're looking at dust under the ground there. Those guys are set up. That's what's going on with Hamas. That's why Israel can't go nowhere. That invasion 200 meters in, they just tippy-toed over the border and had to slow down because they have 500 miles of an underground battlement ready for their tail. That's just Hamas. Forget it. Iran is ready. And America is not playing with Iran. They know they need to take those guys down. They need to chop those guys down. And they know they can't blow everything up, because they start blowing everything up. You're blowing up nuclear, all kind of nuclear plants are being blown up there, and they don't want to contaminate that oil. That's a very delicate situation over there. But America's involved because they really want to take back the control of Iran. They know they can't do it directly because of Russia, but they can do it through Israel. And they are poking their nose into stuff in a way that's extremely, obvious. You causing fights with Syria, all of a sudden missiles are going back. Come on, man. So, anyway, that's my piece. That's my time. I wanted to be to talk about this. The God of Israel versus the God of the Israeli. The God of Israel is God. He has shown us what is taking place in the last days. He has shown us what will come to pass in the last days. He has put righteous leaders to rise up and to do what is supposed to happen. And the God of the Israeli, I don't really know him. I don't know him really. But the God of Israel, I do know him. And hopefully, the God of the Israeli is the same guy. That's all I can say about that. We see a few closing comments. We talked about Congo. Wakanda, yes, Wakanda. Iran is like Wakanda, boy. Yep, and it's like Wakanda, and so is Israel. Those places in the desert, underground fortresses. But I said enough. Love, peace, and hair grease. I love everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time to come and listen to this channel. Support the channel. Subscribe. Share it with somebody. Even if you don't like what I have to say, look at this idiot here talking nonsense he doesn't know. Share it. Same thing. I don't mind. And we can have that debate, okay? God bless you, and we'll talk very soon. Bye-bye.